Welcome to Overwatch, and welcome to talking about McCree this time. So McCree's been a hot topic for a while in the community, and I just wanted to give my comments on it. Also, I'll point out that the developers have also, well, at least one of the developers, I think it was either Jeremy Craig or Jeff Goodman, who said that he's doing some internal tests with McCree, but I want to talk about the McCree problem, at least the issue I see with McCree is we have some lovely Volskaya in the background. This is also what happens, by the way, when no one goes back and deals with a Genji on the point. He ends up getting a third for free, basically. I think Symmetra is trying to handle it right now, but it's the most frustrating thing in the world. Anyway, the McCree problem. So the issue I have with McCree is a little bit different than most people. Sure, it's a little bit bullshit that he's as powerful as he is. But to me, the big issue with McCree is that he's not, like, horrendously overpowered. He's slightly overpowered, but he's just overpowered enough. And also that hurts. That really hurts. He's just overpowered enough to the point where he basically can't... He basically zones out other heroes from shining. So the thing that often happens with me, at least, is when someone asks me, oh, how do I beat this? The answer quite often is McCree. That's true for most of the flankers, so it's definitely true for Tracer, Genji, and Reaper. And it's true for a lot of tanks as well. You can beat a Roadhog very easily, for example, with McCree, Reinhardt with McCree, Winston with McCree, and D.Va with McCree. And so what happens is, other heroes don't have a space to shine. Like, why would you pick Reaper when you can pick McCree? Because McCree is good at close and medium range, while Reaper's only really good at close range. Now, the answer there is Reaper has a big AoE sweeper ultimate. McCree's ultimate is a little bit more zoning. But McCree's ultimate is also incredibly powerful, and the big thing to me with McCree's ultimate isn't actually the power of the ultimate itself. It's the fact that you can use it, then cancel it, and keep 50% of your ultimate. And you only need to get one or two good fan the hammers off and you'll have it back again and ready to go. And that to me is a huge issue, by the way. Like, that shouldn't happen in my mind. You should just, if you use it, that's it, you're back at zero. You shouldn't be able to cancel it and get a partial refund. It's too powerful like that. Now, I've had a lot of proposed fixes for McCree and, how to handle it. To me, the big problem, of course, is, what everyone else realizes, it's fan the hammer, right? It's the fact that you can do 420 damage in a semi-reliable burst, and you only really need 3 of those hits to land. Now, one thing I hear, and I actually quite like this, is fan the hammer builds up like Tracer's Blinks. So you only have a certain number of them. Maybe you can only have 2 fan the hammers stored. So you have to be careful using them, and then they'll recharge with time. There's a high noon. And as you see, 50% on my ultimate. Like, I didn't lose my ultimate then. And by the way, this match goes on for a good period right now, so there's all tension gone, as Ray just swings back onto the point and drops an Earth Shadow and takes everything down. Absolutely beautiful. But yeah, that to me is the real issue with McCree. It's not that McCree is horrendously overpowered, he's just too good at too many things. He's too much of a good all-rounder. Soldier 76 is, the better all-rounder, but McCree is just so binary in terms of dealing with Reinhardts and stuff like that, and dealing with tanks, that you don't need these other picks. And especially picks like Mei, for example, will really struggle to find a niche. Because as long as McCree exists, you never need a Mei. Like, Mei will do what McCree does, but do it slower. That was a terrible flashbang, by the way. I'll call it a zoning flashbang, but really I should have just saved it and then tried to stop some of this nonsense with Genji here, although I do get some good damage onto him. Do manage to secure the point. Flashbang on Lucio. Like, McCree to me is, for example, a good pick against Lucio because he can stun a Lucio, stop any of that mobility. He's pretty much essential for dealing with any 2 Lucio and 2 Tracer comps you'll see, especially in King of the Hill, stuff like that. And this boot. Thanks, Lucio. We were totally fine. I just needed to shoot him once more, no problem. No, he's going to boop him into me so I can't shoot him anymore and get killed. Lovely. Thank you so much for that help. Teamwork makes the dream work, doesn't it, guys? Yes, it does. But I know McCree is a source of a lot of frustration, and, this does derive somewhat from being a stun, and stuns in games are just really, really tricky, right? I mean, this comes back to, you see this debate endlessly between, like, League of Legends fans and Dota 2 fans, because Dota 2 is a game where you can have really long stuns, really, really huge duration stuns, and you basically, you get stunned, you're dead, that's it. And basically the mindset in Dota 2 is, if you got stunned, that's your fault, deal with it. That's just how the character works. In League of Legends, the developers get very antsy and get very sort of scared and paranoid about that kind of thing, but Dota 2 also has options like, the BKB, things like that, as ways around it, so there's different things going on, basically. And I remember way back, way back in February 2015 when Blizzard first invited a bunch of community people to their offices, and they actually unveiled to us about 2 weeks before PAX, where McCree and Zarya were first unveiled to the world, and they showed us these two heroes. They showed us McCree and Zarya. And when they showed McCree, everyone kind of went, "Oh, that's interesting," and my brain exploded, and then I was the first person to ask the important question of, what happens if Reaper's firing a Death Blossom, say, and McCree flashbangs him? And the answer was, you get stunned. And it's like, oh, okay, now you've got crowd control in this game. That's huge. And to me, this is the really big issue, is McCree is the only source of non-ultimate crowd control as well. So when dealing with stuff like Genji, Tracer, Lucio especially, he is your only go-to source of crowd control. Nothing else can really do it, at least not as reliably. Junkrat kind of can, because he has the Immobilize. Mei kind of can, because she also has an Immobilize. But McCree's is just infinitely more reliable, infinitely more stable, and this is the McCree problem, at least as I see it. And again, zoning ultimate, they can't push in for a good, 10-12 seconds, and I can just hold on to my ultimate and I'll get 50% of it instantly back, and it's already going to tick up in 2 shots. It's already pretty hefty. Like, it's insane how powerful that is. And it missing every single shot, it's just, it hurts to watch. It hurts to watch back. I don't know how you guys feel about seeing stuff like that. I've actually been playing around with left click more, by the way. I've basically consigned the right click into the annals of history. I think it is going to get nerfed. I think you're going to still be able to use it once, and I'll be fine with it being used once. It's when it gets used twice that's the real issue in my mind. So, you know, the ability to just, like, put a cooldown on it. Like, the example I often hear is, Lucio can't boop infinitely, why can McCree right click infinitely, basically? And that makes sense. It's not unintuitive to have that right click on a cooldown, because we have examples in the past of, hey, Lucio already has that system implemented. But I've been playing around with the left click more, and the big difference between the left click and the right click is when you get good with the left click, and this game is not a good showcase of being good with the left click, by the way, but when you start hitting shots with it, the big difference is it can crit. And at close range, that's 140 damage. It's enough to one-shot a Tracer after she's been flashbanged, for example. So one thing that people do for reliability is they'll flashbang Tracer and then just left-click her head. Saves you on ammo, it saves you on basically reliability as well. If you can land the shot and if you get used to the motion of doing it, it's a really cool way of just dishing out a lot of damage. And I really like it. I really like the use of that left click. His left click feels really satisfying, by the way, and honestly, you can survive perfectly fine with just a pretty heavy nerf to the right click. The right click to me should be an emergency thing, or should just help with tearing down tanks. It should not be the de facto answer to every single problem in the game that's within, I don't know, 5 to 10 meters of you. Because right now that's kind of what it is, and that's the issue I have with McCree. It's not that McCree is necessarily, I don't know, out of place. Like, he should win a lot of 1v1s. He is the gunslinger, the duelist. That's his place in the game, and he's dominant at close range and medium range. If you're trying to beat him, pick medium and long range answers, so Widowmaker is actually very good against him. Soldier 76, I actually have a huge amount of success on McCree. As long as you don't eat the flashbang, you will win every single fight against him, pretty much. You know, as long as he can't slam that combo into you, you will just win every single time, because he can't damage through your healing field, your rocket, and your reliable left click damage. So it's not like there's not answers, it's just that McCree provides too many answers, and so other heroes just don't have that place to shine, and that's where I stand on McCree. I'm hoping to see, you know, the Fan the Hammer toned down a bit, and that's all I think it really needs. In terms of other balance changes, by the way, I know they hinted that they want to do something with D.Va. I would quite like to see that. I just think D.Va needs a little bit of a bump somewhere, just in terms of, I mean, I'd like to see it on Defense Matrix, by the way. Defense Matrix is one of the most exciting abilities in the game in terms of its power and how influential it can be. So I would love to see more out of Defense Matrix and more clever use of that, and just an interesting way of making that mechanic work. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Widowmaker nerf, and the Widowmaker nerf I'm kind of expecting is a reduction in her charge rate, and also probably a drop in DPS on her assault rifle form. So, you know, she can't just machine gun people down reliably, because that thing is a beast, by the way. That machine gun is insane. But otherwise, just a reduction on her charge rate, and I think Widowmaker would be fine. Other than that, I really don't see that many places for balance. Maybe a tune-up for Zenyatta, I don't know, 25 more shields. Doesn't need too much, actually. I think Zenyatta is sleeper overpowered. Well, not sleeper overpowered, but sleeper balanced. Zenyatta is one of the hardest characters in the game to watch. By the way, here's something interesting. So I shoot into that barrier because I can see it's almost broken. When it's that cracked, it's on about 300 hit points, so I know that because I have full charge on the Roadhog and the Reinhardt, the first shot is going to do 600 damage to the Roadhog, and then it's going to go through and kill the Reinhardt, and there's a fine example, by the way, of how powerful the left click is. So, lovely. And also I managed to dodge the Venom Mine, which feels nice, man. Feels good. And then Tracer kills me with her own bullets. Lovely. That kind of rounds out this game. I know I've been a little bit quiet, I've been kind of busy in the background here. I've actually been founding my own company, which is kind of cool, which is based on this YouTube stuff. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. I'm going to have more content out very soon though for you guys to enjoy. I'm going to do some commentary over the back or some other stuff just to help practice my commentary and just help being informative and coachy. Otherwise, enjoy this play of the game. And those are my thoughts on McCree and where he stands, and also just a tiny bit on D.Va and Widowmaker especially. Yeah, play the game to this guy who said easy in chat. By the way, guys, don't be that guy. Like, this guy, actually, I remember when playing with him, he thought he was better than he was. Like, he had a real issue with, I don't know, big-headedness and being a cocky little shit in chat. Don't do that. Trust me, people will report you and you'll get banned. Anyway, thanks for watching to the end. I've been Josh, one voice amongst many. Toodles.